And hello, welcome. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Along with Debbie Georgiani, I am Jerry Usher. Great to have you with us today. And on this show, if you're not familiar with it, what we do is we come up with what we think is hopefully going to be a pertinent topic, one that touches upon most of our lives. And Debbie and I share a little bit about that from our own insights, and then we open it up to you and hope that you come through as you always do, and you drive the show with your takes, your life experiences, your wisdom, your insights. So let me give you that phone number. It's 833 288 EWTN, 833-288-3986. And we can tell you here in a moment about some other ways of getting involved in the program today. But Debbie, hello there.
Hello. Let me dive right into the topic that you put forth for us, Jerry, which I think is excellent. We titled it, My Life in a Song. What song best fits your life? I'm going to read to you the show synopsis that's on take2show.com. That's our website. And Jerry wrote this up, and I think that it just really helped us get an idea of what we're going for this topic of conversation. And we want you to participate, like Jerry said. So the number is 1-833-288-3986. Music is a powerful way of communicating, especially at an emotional level. Throughout our lives, we become familiar with any number of songs that sum up who we are, how we're feeling, what we're dreaming, and more. If you were asked to narrow it down to one song that best describes your life, either the life you live or the life you would rather live, what would it be? That's what we're asking about today. That's the topic we're discussing. Your life in a song, which one best fits your life? Jerry, I cannot narrow it down to one. I grew up listening to music every single day. It was the way, it was so healing for me and therapeutic, and just a chance for me to unwind. And there's so many songs. I mean, I could go back to the Beach Boys and the Beatles and, Lionel Richie and Creedence Clearwater Revival. And I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then up to date people that really have had an impact, like Andrea Bocelli and folks like that, very talented people that have used music to really leave an impact. And I think it does, Jerry. I mean, it sounds to me, though, when you did this topic, do you have one song that you best identify with that really kind of hits those core emotions for you?
I did narrow it down to one, but you're right. And dear listeners, it could be more than one song for you. We'd love it if you could kind of narrow it down to one that sums up maybe a period of your life or where your life is right now. Or we all, Debbie, those of us who have had relationships and those who have been married and so forth, often have that the couple has their song, and things like that. So we want to know for you if there's a piece of music, a song, the lyrics just speak to you in your heart, in your life right now, or again, it could be maybe some hopes and dreams that you have in your life. 833-288-3986. You mentioned being raised around music, similar to with me, Debbie. Many people know that my background is in radio. I've been in radio now going on almost 39 years, and I was a disc jockey for many years. So wow. when you spend any amount of time as a disc jockey, then songs really become a part of your life. But I do have one song, yeah, and I can share that now if you'd like, or we can.
Yeah, I would love to know how you narrowed it down to one. I can't do it. I tried. But I'd love to hear yours.
I just want to encourage you who are listening right now. This is a show where you drive it with your calls and, again, your life experiences. And we're looking to you today to maybe inform and inspire and educate us because, again, as Debbie read from that show synopsis, music is very, very powerful, and it touches us at a very deep level. And songs can take on lifelong meaning for us. So if you have a song that has done that for you, it's 833-288-3986. Well, for me, Debbie, there could have been any number of songs. And by the way, it doesn't have to be, it could be a secular song. It could be a Christian song. It can be a Christmas song. We just came out of the Christmas season. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, a Catholic hymn or something like that. But the one that I narrowed it down to, I've had a lot of friends throughout my life who have just been very, very supportive of me. You know, we all have friends who are supportive of our work and our journey and our calling, and in my case, ministry. And for me, and for you in a way too, Debbie, you know, we have found ourselves sort of in the public eye, you know, public figures and personalities and so forth. And that's simply due to, you know, God's will, whatever, you know, that happened to be for our lives. And so that carries with it, you know, like I say, being sort of, you know, observed in the public eye and so forth. And then we have friends who support us in that. You know, we're not after glory or fame or anything like that, but there are the quiet people, you know, the friends that are just always there for you. They don't want to seek the glory. In fact, they kind of want to remain a little bit hidden and so forth. And so the song for me that has always had a lot of meaning with many of these friends, one very special friend in particular, is Wind Beneath My Wings. And I love, I think that just so touching to me. You know, I was the one with all the glory. You were the one with all the strength. I mean, I've had so many people provide their strength to me, especially maybe in times when I was struggling or just trying to find my way or discern what it was that God was calling me to do. So many very, very strong people, and like I say, I just have this one rock of a friend in particular who is just always there, always providing that wind beneath my wings to keep me going, supporting whatever work it is that I'm doing, in this case, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. So I think Wind Beneath My Wings would be, if I had to narrow it down to one, that would be it.
Oh, I love that song. Absolutely. I remember that song from the movie, and oh boy, is that touching. I agree with you, Jerry, and the lyrics and that. And that's so true. And so that really has resonated with you and hit you to your core being, which I think is wonderful. And that's what we want to hear from our listeners today. You know, what song or songs really have touched you in a way that, you know, they trigger all sorts of emotions inside of you, and you know, maybe you feel sad, you feel happy when you listen to it, whatever. We want to hear from you. So 1-833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. I'm glad you shared that, Jerry, because it actually made me think of an Elvis Presley song, actually, that really moves me to in a deep way. Yeah, that's interesting. So now you are narrowing it down for me. So I'm glad you shared that. That was good. Maybe that'll help others as well. My sister weighed in. She likes the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy." Remember that song, Jerry?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There you go. Well, thank you, Marianne. That was good. I like that. That always makes me smile. Okay, so you hear that great music. We're just going to hit the pause button for a little bit. When we come back, we're going to hear the songs that have impacted your life, have touched your soul, on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie getting underway on a Monday. Good to have you with us. Hope you had a blessed weekend. And we are talking today about songs that really kind of sum up or define your life, who you are, where you are in life, where you wish to be, hope to be, things like that, something very impacting for you. And we do have a lot of calls on the line getting ready to be on the air at 833-288-3986. Also want to draw your attention to News Nightly, EWTN News Nightly, which is heard on many of these same affiliate stations. And Lauren Ashburn is the anchor, and she and her team bring you an outstanding newscast every evening from a Catholic perspective at 9 Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's EWTN News Nightly with Lauren Ashburn. Don't miss it. I try not to every night.
Yeah. I do as well. That's wonderful. Thank you for highlighting that, Jerry. Okay, so we do have everybody getting screened by. I believe Ryan is answering the phones today. Is that correct, Jerry? Did you know that? Or Mike? Or maybe Rich Jesse will tell us. Is it Ryan? But Ryan's so good to talk to. Michael's the two Michaels or Ryan? It is Ryan. Okay, yeah. Ryan's answering your calls right now, so that's really cool. And first up is Julia, and Julia's in Washington, listening on the EWTN app. Hi, Julia. Happy New Year. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi, thank you. To you too.
Thank you.
Tell us about your song, Julia.
The song that has inspired me greatly recently is called "Mr. President Trump" by Alfred Bosco. It's on YouTube. He talks about, well, first Mr. President Trump, I think it was his first day in office. He signed a bill to stop abortions or stop the funding of abortions and Planned Parenthood. Is that correct? Wasn't it the first day in office?
I know the first day in office he did something that I believe was very pro-life. I'd have to go back and double or triple check that, but you may be right about that. Yeah.
Okay.
I know he.
Yeah, I just want. I'm not sure, and I agree. I know he did something really profound. And then also in the song he talks about how he really feels, he was sent from God, to help make America great again. And also he talks about how the soldiers have sacrificed their lives for our freedom. The whole football thing with bending the knee and on the football players, how they don't give any respect to our soldiers. And so it just, all those things. My husband's an ex-Marine, ex-cop, retired from cop. And so those things just really, they speak to me very profoundly, just to give respect to those who sacrificed for our freedom. And, so I just have a lot of respect for the song. And also it's just really catchy. It kind of sticks in my head.
Well, I'm going to have to look that one up on YouTube because I am not familiar with it. And I'm doing a little bit of searching as quickly as I can here while the show is going on the air here, Julia. And I am finding, I know that President Trump on his I found an article, President Trump's first hours in office. And I know that one of the things he had promised to do was to get underway on dismantling the Affordable Care Act. And, of course, that had some mandates in there that went against the consciences and practices and principles of the pro-life position of the Catholic Church. So that may be what you're referring to there. But, Debbie, I don't know if you've heard that song before. I know that I have not.
I haven't, but I made a note of it. I think it's interesting. I'm gonna look it up after the show. And Julia, it's interesting what you're saying, because especially how you shared, it has a catchy tune as well, and that does stick with you. Do you ever have that where you find yourself humming it, or it's playing over and over again in your head, and that's a sign of something that does have a, like you said, a profound impact on you. And I think that's great that you resonate with that song, and it seems like it's positive in your life. And it reinforces your core beliefs, and I think that's good. The thing that always gets me with songs is I find that they can be very productive in people's lives, and then it's the songs that people gravitate towards that they don't really seem to do much. Well, maybe from the outside looking at it, you think, well, what's that really doing for them? How is that making them a better person or make them have better feelings? Those always concern me, those kinds of songs. And I think we all know what I'm referring to is those kind of the new songs that are out there right now that you really can't understand the lyrics. They don't make sense. Some of them are very, degrading, and they don't seem to be life-giving. But this sounds like a positive song, and so I'm glad you shared it with us, Julia. Did we capture that correctly? That it's something that if we check it out, it may leave a positive impact on us?
I believe so. It definitely has on me.
Cool.
Very good. Well, you got us started on that, Julia. Thank you so much. Appreciate you listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and calling in the program. And we're talking today about what song kind of sums up, defines your life, or has a real impactful meaning on you. Could be a faith song, a Christian song. It could be something secular. Debbie, I think you were talking about some of those songs that the windows of your car vibrate, and the person listening to the song is on the other side of the freeway, right? I mean, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you just wonder why are they gravitating towards towards music like that? Because I mean, is it really having a positive impact? I mean, I don't know. To me, it just sounds like noise. I don't know. Jerry, you were a DJ. What do you make of that?
There's a lot of noise, believe me. Yeah, I don't want to diss all current contemporary music and stuff like that, but to me, and being my age, at 57, I find that music isn't what it once was, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. But of course, there are a lot of people who would see the music that I like and say, 20 years before that was the best. Music wasn't. No, there's no music like that anymore either. So it could be a taste thing or a generational thing. But there's a lot of good music in every age.
But retro is back, though, Jerry. Did you notice that? Like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and everything. Yeah. It's all coming back. What does that tell you?
Well, let's see what Katherine has to say in Temperance, Michigan, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Katherine. You are up next on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Welcome. Happy New Year, Katherine.
Happy New Year.
Tell us about your song. Doing all right. Doing all right. What song do you want to throw at us?
My song is "We All Bleed the Same" by Mandusa.
Okay. Debbie, another one I'm not familiar with. You're gonna have to educate us, just like Julia did. Katherine, go ahead.
It's on Christian radio, and basically it says it doesn't matter what race you are, what color you are, we all bleed the same, and we're all children of God.
Oh, I love that. And that's on Christian radio.
Right.
Okay.
And if you go to YouTube and type in "We All Bleed the Same," you'll find it.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, well, first two songs here, Debbie, neither of us knew about them. People are going to start to doubt the fact that we, were immersed in music for so much of our lives. Although I'm not so much anymore. But, so that's got a great message, Katherine. What do you think that says to you that makes it so meaningful for you? Obviously, it's a song about inclusion, and we are all children, sons and daughters of God. Is that pretty much the core essence of that really kind of strikes you, a message that you would like to see people hear and embrace more than is done in the world today?
Especially with the way the political climate is on everything. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are, what religion you are. We all bleed the same, and we all can have the same hurts and issues, and to be kind and loving to each other. And that's what the song is about, is we are Christians, and we all hurt the same, and we all have the same pain, and we should try to understand each other without judging each other so much.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So it's a beautiful song. I hope you look it up and find it and play it, because it's a really nice song.
Absolutely. Well, now I've got two songs to check out, the one that Julia suggested and you as well, Katherine. So thank you so very much for sharing that with the global audience today. And that's the beauty of this show, is that we get to have these discussions that we normally wouldn't be able to have in the workplace. And so this is a wonderful way for us to spread good messages to one another. So thank you, Katherine. God bless you for that, and have a beautiful 2019. I love saying that, Jerry. I don't know why. I think this is going to be a great year for many folks. I just do. I have a gut feeling.
Hope that we're included in that.
Yeah, really.
Katherine, by the way, we mentioned, was listening on Sirius XM 130 at the start of the show. I mentioned there are a lot of ways you can listen to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, obviously on your local EWTN affiliate. Be sure and support them with your prayers, your financial gifts. Support EWTN, but then there's you can text the letters EWTN to 55000 if you happen to be listening but can't get to a phone. You could be listening on Sirius XM 130 or on the EWTN app or online at EWTN.com. So basically, a lot of ways that you can listen to our show and all of the EWTN programs, as Sharon is doing, also on Sirius XM 130 in Landenberg, Pennsylvania. Hi, Sharon. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Sure.
Happy New Year.
And the same to you.
Thanks. Your scanner is really good. I always call the song Hosea, but it's really called Come Home to Me by John Talbot.
Okay.
And when I was in my early late teens, I really was active in the charismatic movement. Since then, I have not been, but that song has always stuck with me. I sing it much better than I actually really do in my voice. But that's always been my favorite song and has always touched my heart when I think of it.
Do you know it, Jerry?
Well, it's the song. It's in one of the. It's in the hymn book of,
Right.
of most churches. Come back to me with all your heart. Don't let fear keep us apart. Is that the song that you're referring to there, Sharon? Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
It goes by the name of Hosea, which I believe is the book in the Bible that it is inspired by or comes from, taken from, and it also goes under the name "Come Back to Me" is another
Right.
title of that song. So, Debbie, I
love
you've
that song.
got to be familiar with that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good one
yeah,
for Lent.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. You know what's interesting, Sharon? When you hear these songs, they just tell me if you agree with this. There's something that happens. It's beyond emotion, and the only thing I could say is that it just seems to speak to the soul. Do you feel that way with some of these songs? Because I know I do, and I can't quite put words around it.
It stirs the heart and
Yeah.
the soul at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just speaks to you with your soul and heart, and and it doesn't leave your mind after that. It just sticks with you, and you go through the lyrics and you think, wow, come back home to me, and long have I waited.
Yeah. Well, and now you just got me thinking, okay, so I'm going to narrow it down. I would say that the song that does it for me in that, and when we're talking about how we're talking about speaking to the heart and the soul, Sharon, it would have to be "I Can Only Imagine" by Mercy Me. Yeah. That's
love
that.
that song.
Don't you? That song really does it for me. It just, Jerry, do you know that song, right?
I know it well. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great song. Okay, so I just narrowed it down. Thanks to Sharon. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, that's one of the songs I have on my waterproof, headset that I swim with. Is "I Can Only Imagine," along with a lot of Matt Maher stuff and Hillsong worship. I just love Hillsong worship and stuff. So, okay, thank you, Sharon, for that. We appreciate it so very much. We got a lot of calls here, but Debbie, a lot of social media too. You think we can get to a couple of those?
Yeah,
here?
and Sean Patrick sent us a text. Did you see that? Would you like to read his text?
I don't have my phone with me right now.
Oh, okay, I can read it. Why don't you, if you want to pull up social media, I'll read what Sean Patrick, one of our dear Take Two family, said, good day, Debbie and Jerry. He put me first, Jerry. I'm so excited. Thank you, Sean Patrick. But for the grace of our Heavenly Father, my dad, Louis Edward, is still with us. Thank the Take Two family and Lynn and all of you very, very much for the prayers for his dad. Please tell Lynn that I'm still praying for her loved one, and her and my family and I are praying for all of the Take Two family intentions and their loved ones. Thanks so much to both of us. So that's from Sean Patrick, one of our Take Two family members.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, he wanted us to make sure that Lynn, I believe Lynn was in Oklahoma. I'm not sure. Lynn was praying for Sean Patrick's dad the other day. Thank you all so much. And by the way, we should mention too, we're asking anyone who wants to pray more in 2019. Debbie and I have set up a special email account. You can join in. It's an opt-in thing. It's not any heavy commitment, but you can email letspraymore@gmail.com and just say, hey, I'm in. And we're just asking for something like a rosary a day, the Memorare, St. Michael prayer. And if that's too much for you time-wise, a decade of the rosary or just some prayer in your own words. But we want to pray for the church, for the world, for each other, for all of our needs. So let's pray more@gmail.com. All right, back to your phones in a minute, but onto social media on Facebook. Pat likes Let It Be by the Beatles. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Steve says, I always request Rocky Top. Okay, Steve. Anna Lynn likes Lead Me, Lord. Stephanie says, classic rock hits remind me of my mama. And Susan says, I love it when our parish sings Morning Has Broken. I loved it when Cat Stevens sung it in the 70s, but singing it in church brings it home. That's from Susan on Facebook.
Nice.
Okay.
Very good. Let It Be. I know. Don't you just love that song? What a great song.
Oh, real quickly, too, a
ahead.
couple of emails.
Okay.
Lisa emailed take2@EWTN.com, and she likes You Raise Me Up by Josh Groban. And I've always wondered about his stuff, Debbie. I mean, it is so... it's so Christian, It's so it could go either way, really, very very easily. And hi Jerry and this is from Jane. Hi Jerry and Debbie. Here is one song title that always made me laugh about the grammar. You know what? I'm gonna have to read this song. Oh, it's Donna Fargo. You can't be a beacon if your light don't shine. All right, thanks, Jane. We appreciate it. Coming back with more of your phone calls.
This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. Please fill up those phone lines. When the line becomes open, jump in and share with us the song that best fits your life. And we're getting some great songs here today, and that's exciting. Jerry, you know where I'm going to be after the show is over. I'm going to be listening to all the songs that everybody has brought up because I'm having a walk down memory lane here. I'm easily influenced, I will tell you, by music. Music is... it definitely moves me, and I've always felt that way. In your suggestions and your experiences of song today, dear listeners, this is important, and I think it can help us, move us along, and maybe bring some healing into our lives sometimes. Because songs are very relaxing, and they do trigger those core emotions, which can be very powerful. So let's hear what Patrick has to say. And Patrick is in Cleveland, Ohio, listening on The Rock. Hi, Patrick. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm just pulling off the road here a little bit so I can talk. I can't
good.
drive and talk at the same time.
Good deal.
Well.
Be
Probably
safe.
better to be safe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. My favorite song is Here I Am, Lord.
Okay,
Is it I,
hymn.
Lord?
Yeah.
Huh? Yes, the hymn. Oh,
Yeah,
I
right.
love it.
Yeah.
I had received the call to the ministry of ministering to the sick and the dying with hospice about 14 years ago.
Wow.
And it is my life.
Wow. Thank you for that, Patrick. God bless you for that. And that is a beautiful and a fitting song for that. Can you elaborate just real quickly on how you sense that call? This is important, I think, for a lot of people. This song can be taken very generally. Here I am, Lord. The Lord He is obviously calling all of us to know Him and to love Him and so forth. But it also can be very specific in terms of something like you have embraced in this ministry. How did you sense that call?
Well, I was 64 years old. I was 64 and a half, and my wife and I had a very dear friend who died of ovarian cancer. And for the last 5 nights, all I ever knew about hospice was a sign on the side of the road that says, hospice, let's exit. And so every night I had about an hour's drive home, right? I'd drive home, I'd pick up the wife at about 6 o'clock, and we'd go to the hospice house, which was up on Lake Erie. And I'd get there about 7:15, and speak with Crystal, with her for a couple of hours, right? And the last night we were there, that day I had interviewed somebody for my job, and that was kind of on my mind. And I said to the wife as we're walking out to the car, I says, this is God's work, what these people do. I think when I retire, I think I want to volunteer. She says, whatever, where are we going to eat? Because there's not very many places to eat up by that lake there. So anyway, that was the end of it. The next morning, Crystal passed away. And so life goes on. We hired my replacement. It came time to retire, and my boss says, how about sticking around? We're all we got a big project coming up, and I had been there for 20 years with the company. So I said, sure, he's doing the heavy lifting. I don't care. I'll stick around. Well, a year and a half goes by. Every time I go to retire, I say, hey, stick around. Anyway, on my way home, I go between 2 interstates. There's an Interstate 77 and an Interstate 71. And the road between them is about 12 miles. And it's a 4-lane highway, but there's a half a dozen lights. A year and a half after Crystal passed away, I'm driving home, listening to the radio, and I stopped at a light where there's a Sheetz gas station, and nobody's in the car, right? And all of a sudden it pops in my head, hey, if you're going to get into hospice, you better do it before you become a patient. But I'm an Irishman. I got a thick skull, right? So I'm, what's that, right? The light changes, and off I go. In June, deja vu. It happened a second time at the same light, right? And that kind of rattled my cage a little bit. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? But by the time I get to Interstate 71, I forget, and I'm listening to the radio again. Third time it happened in July. I turned the radio off. Now I get home, I said to the wife, I says, hey, you remember hospice? And she says, I don't know. I says, where Crystal was, oh, yeah. I said, remember the last night? She says, not really. What are you getting at? I says, well, I don't know if I'm going to die pretty soon, but I've been told to get into hospice before I become a patient. And she says, whatever. So I did. I called up hospice, and you don't just join hospice. They do a serious background check before, because you get to some very vulnerable situations in people's homes and everything. And anyway, that's how I got called to hospice.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, I didn't retire till I was almost 72. But and I just did hospice nights and weekends for the first 5 years. But it's my life now. My wife passed away 3 years ago, and she spent the last 5 days of her life at a hospice house. And I got to tell you, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Wow, Patrick.
And I love it.
Thank you for sharing that, and it's so. You just brought back a flood of memories for me. You mentioned that the first lady that you were helping or visiting in hospice was Crystal, and she had ovarian cancer. And very, very dear friend of mine, who was my bookkeeper, actually passed away a few years ago of ovarian cancer, and her last name was McCrystal. So you've brought some very, very fond memories back to me for when you. But Debbie, this is know. This is beautiful, beautiful. And again, that song, "Here I Am, Lord," and Patrick, he said he's a little bit Irish, so it took him a little while. I'm a slow study too, Patrick, but God is calling, Debbie. He's calling all of us to do something very, very important, and this is such very important ministry.
Well, I'm so glad you really went into the ministry of hospice, because I think you're perfect for it. I mean, you answered the call, and you're doing it, and it's become something very meaningful in your life. And I just want to say thank you for saying yes to that, because we need more folks like you to jump in and do their part, because you have a lot to offer, and especially those that are transitioning. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's hospice work. You know how I feel about that, Jerry. My dad was on hospice, and it's just a wonderful ministry, a vocation. It does take those special individuals that can be by the bedsides of people that are getting ready to go into eternal life. And I think it's important. So thank you, Patrick. God bless you for that. Thank you for sharing, because like Jerry said, that may motivate others to jump in if they're feeling that nudge in their spirit, or that calling. I think it's wonderful we're having this conversation, Jerry.
Indeed. Patrick, thank you so much for the call. We're going to get to all of you if we can, time permitting. We have some great calls coming up. Bobby is next, listening to Guadalupe Radio Network in San Antonio, Texas. Hi, Bobby. Thank you for joining us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
The song that means a lot to me is a very, very old song. It was a song that was in my mother's day, and I'm 72, so that tells you how old it was. It's a song called I Give to You and You Give to Me True Love. And my husband and I picked that out to be our song before we were ever married. Well, my husband died before we ever hit our 50th wedding anniversary. We were only married 46 years when he died. But what would have been our 50th wedding anniversary, that prior to that year, I kept praying to the Lord to please let him just come to me on that 50th wedding anniversary day and appear to me or talk to me. Just give me a sign. Mm-hmm. Well, needless to say, it wasn't going to happen, right? It didn't happen. Well, every month I have to go to receive an infusion. And when I got to the clinic that day, the nurses were getting ready to start the IV and stuff. And there were 4 ladies there, a quartet, and they started, tuning up. And the very first song out of their mouth was, and I give to you, and you give to me true love. And I burst out crying. Of course, the nurses all ran over, thought something was wrong, and I couldn't hardly talk. I was just going, and Ed did give me a sign. God let him give me a sign, because nobody had ever heard of this song. They were all Googling it, trying to get to the words, and it's such a beautiful love song. And I just, it was just so overpowering.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, Bobby. Oh, absolutely. And Bobby, especially because it didn't sound like it was a super popular song at that time. So to have that song be the first one out for them to perform for you, I mean, yeah, you've got to just imagine that the good Lord allowed that to be a sign just for you. And so what a beautiful gift you received. And I think, that's what I mean by when there's this power in music, and when it's used properly. I mean, that's true with everything. When you look at anything that has been given to us and that we are allowed to use on this earth, it can be used for such moving experiences, and it can, and by the same token, it can be also used in very destructive ways. In your situation, with the love that you shared with your husband, and this song that was just personal to the two of you, and then the good Lord allowing you to have this as a sign. See, that's the beauty of it, and I think that's how God uses this to help us along on our journey. So I'm happy you received that. Praise be to God. And sounds like it's always going to be stuck with you as well. What do you think, Bobby?
Oh yes, and we danced it at all of our daughters' weddings, and they had to go research it to find it, so they could play it, so we could dance it. So it's very special to me.
Precious.
Yeah, it's precious. Exactly. I love it.
Thanks, Bobby, very much.
Yep.
Thanks for that very touching, inspiring phone call. A lot of these are as well. We're talking about a song that fits your life to a T. Maybe the life you've had in the past, you have right now. Maybe something you're aiming for, dreaming of. 833-288-3986 is the number. Kathy is next in Cheyenne, Wyoming, listening on the Catholic Radio Network. Hello, Kathy. We're glad you're with us. Welcome.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. Thank you for taking my call, and thank you so much for airing this conversation. It's just kind of fun and refreshing, and there's so much drama out there. Anyway, my husband and I were a blended couple, and we met 18 years ago. But when we met, I was at a point in my life. I had a late husband for about 10 years at that time. And I was just waiting on God to put somebody in my life if they needed to be there. And if they didn't need to be there, then so be it. And when we met, I just knew from the first time we met, and we were actually flying together on military aircraft, and Righteous Brothers was playing in the terminal, and You Are My Soul and My Heart's Inspiration was what they were playing, and I thought, this is right, this is our song. And my husband, and it was immediate for him. And we've been married 13 years now. We've been together 18, but we waited on annulments and that sort of thing. But the song, he was Baptist, and Jesus has always been my inspiration, and my father is still our prayer warrior. He's 97 now. But I've always had, it's always been a blessing that my family were people of faith. And he was Baptist, so he sat in our choir loft for 5 years and kind of thought, wow, maybe I'm not supposed to be just sitting up here. And he went through RCIA about 11 years ago now. And it's just our song, and it's what helps us keep us grounded in our faith, and that Jesus really is the inspiration that drives our days. So I just wanted to share them. Beautiful. And for the little lady that you called before, just to let her know that she's not out there alone, that true love, is my generation too. And Lawrence Welk had somebody sing it many, many times and stuff. So let her know, hey, you're not alone out there.
Yeah. Right. Kathy, so let me just ask you this question. So that song means so very much to you and your husband. How many times, I'm just curious, like how many times a year do you find yourself playing that song, or does it come up just, spontaneously, or do you listen to it often, or is it just something by memory?
No, we actually hear it, on Sirius XM. We're kind of 60s music.
Okay, good.
If we don't have EWTN on, but we also have some Righteous Brothers CDs, and we'll just play a CD once in a while or something. So, and we usually play it on our anniversary, and yeah.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, that's where I was getting at. I was wondering if you do on a special occasion or anything like that. And see, I think that's very. I think that's so healthy to do in relationships. I mean, we know, let's all kind of, I think we can all agree on this. We know that music has a very powerful image and message and feelings that it instills in us and provokes in us. And I think that's important. And when we bring that forth, like you did for your anniversary, I think that just kind of keeps it going. I like that. Jerry, do you do that as well? Because I know I do. And I think that's what I was trying to get at with Kathy, just to maybe spend some time in just listening to music, not just picking it up in an elevator at a retail store or something that we hear music just, by chance, but to really make that effort to play music in the home. Do you do that? Do you do that, Jerry?
I do. To go to it, rather than just kind of by happenstance, you hear a song or you hear music or things that remind you of things like this. But yeah, to go to the music. Like I said, I take my what do you call them? The MP3 player with me when I swim. And I've always got music there, and I really do. I love music. I'll have it on in the car, when I'm not listening to EWTN or praying the rosary or something like that. So yeah, I think for me, like I said, I've been now 39 years in radio. A lot of that is a disc jockey. So there's that old saying, there's a song in that. Even when somebody says something, that'll conjure up images of music lyrics for me. Yeah, so it's still very much a part of my life.
Yeah, that's why I love that Kathy shared that. Thank you so much, Kathy, for weighing in on this and just reminding us, I mean, we all have special events in our lives and, and they probably are attached to a special song. So why not, be playing that in the background? I think that just kind of sets the whole atmosphere, the whole mood. That's beautiful. Okay, Jennifer is up next in San Antonio, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to Take Two and Happy New Year.
You too. I wanted to share the song by DC Talk that's called Say the Words, because we can forget to tell each other as spouses or as friends or to our kids that we love them, and we can just assume that we love them, that they know that we love them. And this song reminds us that we need to tell our loved ones and our friends that we love them, because we don't know what's going to happen the next day, that something tragic could happen and we may not see them. Like a friend of mine, their son was killed in a car accident, and it was just the day before that the son happened to call my friend and said, "Mom, I love you." And it was just the next day that they were killed in an accident. So we need to always remember to tell our loved ones that we love them, because you never know what's going to happen. And it's just, the song brings that back to memory, and I think we should always remember to tell our loved ones that we love them, and this is what the song reminds us to do, and I think that's what I wanted to share with you. And this topic brought that to mind, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Well, thank you for that contribution, Jennifer. And you're right. Sometimes we do take for granted that our loved ones know that we love them, and in one sense, that's a very good thing. If it doesn't need to be said, and they still know that and implicitly understand that and know that's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, it is good to reiterate that. We say to Jesus, we exchange, love words with Jesus every time we receive the Eucharist. For example, we renew that spousal relationship with the Lord in a very intimate way. And so, Debbie, you and Marty, I'm sure, probably go out of your way to make sure that each of you is affirming the other in the love that you have for each other on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that song, "Say the Words" by DC Talk. I'm gonna have to listen to. Yeah, so true. And that's what we mean by when the words of a song can really get us to start thinking in a wholesome way, especially if they're good, if they're good songs that can really get us to build in virtue and to be better people. And so I agree with you, Jennifer. Those songs like that, I'm definitely going to check that out. I love that. So we got to keep saying it to one another, because you never know when it's going to be the last time. Thank you, Jennifer, so very much. Okay, Jerry, you wanted to share.
I wanted to bring people's attention to churchpop.com. It's a service of EWTN, and it's got some serious stuff, some lighter stuff. It's got articles, lists, games, quizzes, and more, and some very interesting stuff that you're not going to read anywhere else. And there are a lot of stuff on there right now ties into music. For example, there's a story how a faulty organ brought about one of the most beloved Christmas carols of all time. What else here? Lift Your Heart to Heaven. French seminarians chant Alma Redemptoris Mater in Notre Dame Chapel for Advent. And there are stories like, when God says no, 10 ways to make petitionary prayers more effective. And here's one, 3 ways the hit Christmas movie Elf can help Christians evangelize, according to this missionary. So some interesting stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. Churchpop.com, a service of EWTN.
Mm-hmm. See, that's just proof, what that Church Pop article, Jerry, about how different things that we view and we listen to and we watch can help us become holier in our journey. And I think that's very interesting. That's why I love Church Pop. They take such a fresh angle on things. Okay, Sherry in Amarillo, Texas. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, and I was just going to tell you about a song that meant a lot to me. It's been about 22 or 23 years ago. My youngest sister, who was a twin, not my twin, but she called me up at work. I was working late at a law firm and said, "Oh, you just got to start listening to Christian radio, and you've got to listen to this song." And she goes, "It is so pretty," and this and that, and it's called Another Time and Another Place. And she died the next day in a car wreck.
Oh, my.
And then she was just about to possibly, we think, get engaged, and she was all excited about life. and she was only 19, so we were sad that, oh, she's not going to get married, she's not going to have kids. But the song that she told me about the day before, it says, all of life's sweetest joys combined could never match those in another time. And though I put my trust in Christ and felt His Spirit move in my life, I know it's truly just a taste of His glory in another place. It makes me cry. I'm sorry. And then that last part of it, I mean, the chorus says, so I'm waiting for another time in another place where all my hopes and dreams will be captured with one look at Jesus' face. And it says, oh, my heart's been burning, my soul keeps yearning. Sometimes I can't hardly wait for that sweet, sweet someday when I'll be swept away to another time, another place.
Wow.
So it was really sweet.
Yeah, I'm rather moved by what you've shared here about your sister Sherry, and I'm sure Debbie is too. Boy, I'll tell you, these are just those God moments, I guess, that, I'm not that, hard to tell if she knew anything was about to happen in her life or what, but just what a beautiful, beautiful gift that she gave to you, Sherry, that now you can always recall her. I know you would have many other ways and reasons to recall her and the love that you each had for each other, but what a very, very special gift now that Sherry gets to carry with her through her life to remind her of her sister.
Oh, yeah. As you were speaking, Sherry, I was just moved with emotion. Wow, I could hardly even breathe just hearing your story, and just now you have that beautiful song as remembrance. And I'm sorry for your loss, but that's the thing, is that we can have these songs and poems and different readings that can move us and keep us moving along on the journey and remind us that life is very precious. And wow, Sherry, thank you for sharing that with us today. That really hit me hard, Jerry. I don't know how I'm very emotional about that. Yeah.
Well, it was a very emotional what you shared there, Sherry. Thank you so much. And every day when we do the show, we get to this point where we just have to, unfortunately, not be able to get to everybody who is on the line. But thank you all for listening and for calling, and Ann and Mary Carol and Shane and Maria and Sally on those lines there. We just are not going to have time. Just a couple quick social media comments on Facebook. Debbie Hallie said, wow, just wow. I don't usually click through to your show when the notification comes up. Today, I just got in from teaching music classes for an agency that serves developmentally disabled individuals. God must be checking in with me today. And that's from Hallie on Facebook.
Wow, interesting. See, everything is so appropriate at the right time. I think I just thought why I love this show. But it's thanks to all of our Take Two family that just steps up and makes it what it is, Jerry. And so thanks again for everybody that participated. Again, sorry we couldn't get to you, but you can always email us with your favorite song and why that song means so much to you at take2 at EWTN.com. And don't forget to shoot us an email if you're in on the 2019 challenge of praying more each and every day in this year. And all you have to do is send us an email to letspraymore@gmail.com and just say, I'm in, or I'm up for the challenge. Because I think right now, Jerry, we've got to have, is it close to 300 or over 300 by now?
It is, yeah. It's over 300 emails so far, and we're
That's
hoping
awesome.
to get more than that. Yeah,
it feels good, doesn't it? Over 300 folks. A lot of them are they signed up for their spouses too. So maybe it's even more than that. Think of all those wonderful Take Two family members that are praying for all of our intentions each and every day. That's pretty comforting, Jerry.
Stephanie says on Facebook, Ave Maria seems to bring me to the gates of heaven, and The Wind Beneath My Wings was on my little brother's funeral CD. God rest his soul, Stephanie. Thank you for weighing in on that. And we heard from Lisa and MT and Ann and Helen and Maureen and Molly and Susan via email, all with their favorite songs. She's not going to have time to mention what they all are right now, but what a great, fun conversation and inspiring conversation today.
Very inspiring. Thanks to our listeners. So thank you so much. We've got another show planned for you tomorrow. But of course, as we always say, and we do mean it, until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.